So, welcome to the session. We are studying the book. May I request, please you should do the Gayatri Mantra chanting before these sessions because, as we've talked about it, uh, the Gayatri Mantra helps increase our higher intelligence, including intuitive intelligence. And all that is very important, very necessary for understanding what Master has talked about in these books. Okay. So we had studied up to Sutra number 8. Now we are moving to Sutra number 9 on page 32. So, the first spiritual, you'll remember Master had said that this book he was originally going to call his spiritual findings. And then he kept the name, what the name he has kept, because that was his first finding. And he thought that is the most important. So that should be the name of the book. Now we are moving. So far, we had been discussing the first spiritual finding, which is that the existence of God is self evident. Now we are moving on to other things. Now, these next few sutras, they are very unique and they are very useful, very important because this is rare information on the inner world. I think we are all spiritual aspirants. We all want to progress spiritually. Now, as we progress spiritually, what will we experience? What will we perceive? What will we, what can we encounter? So, master is, the word guru, it means the one who dispels darkness. How is darkness dispelled? By throwing light. So, there is a path, and he is throwing light and showing us the path. यहाँ जाओगे ये मिलेगा, when you reach here you will, this is what you will get, etc, etc. So, and this is very rare information. This is, it's hard to find this information elsewhere. So, you know again, let's say thank you, master, for this very, very practical guidance. Okay, let's read. Principle of omnipresence. Based on inner experiences and experiments, consciousness travels infinitely faster than the speed of light and in all directions. One experiences a certain degree of omnipresence. And you remember we talked about the word omni, it means infinite. And presence, of course, So omnipresence means infinitely present or present everywhere. And later it is explained also. It is explained in the same sutra in the next para. That is what is explained. Different levels of consciousness travel at different speeds. So before we go on to the second part of this sutra, let's just, there is something to really think about. And, I keep saying you need, higher intelligence or intuitive intelligence. Now, for example, this topic of consciousness. What is consciousness? Is it awareness? Is it intelligence? What is it? So it is something to think about. And, always it helps that you say it is not this, it is not this, it is not this, it is not this. And in terms of what it is, perhaps, my limited knowledge and understanding, what I have read in different literature, consciousness is that energy or that non-material energy which animates or enlivens. So for example, you are seeing your screen. Now, you are seeing the screen means what? The eye is getting a certain amount of light impressions, the brain is interpreting, and the various bodies are interpreting that. Now, all these bodies are enabled or animated. You see, for example, the physical body. Now, the physical body is just a set of particles. है ना? कुछ chemicals हैं, thrown together, they become the body. But when what animates the body, when that is removed, the body is unable to do anything which it is able to do when it is animated. I hope you, so just think about it. So in a sense, you can say it is the sightness of the sight. It is what enables sight. Your eye works, what enables the eye to work. The brain works, what enables the brain to work. The impressions of the brain are interpreted at different levels, astral plane, mental plane, and so on. What enables them to function? Because they are just particles, they just matter. That we also call it the soul. Now, soul, we will read later and we can discuss now. Soul is pure consciousness. But then, why talk about traveling? If soul is pure consciousness, what does it mean to say that it travels? It says, Master says different levels of consciousness travel at different speeds. So what does it mean? Because you see, travel means that it is at this point and now it reaches this point. But consciousness, does consciousness really travel? So I think the way to understand that is that consciousness expresses or acts through the different bodies, the physical body, the etheric body, the astral, mental, etc., etc. It acts through the bodies. And different bodies have different grades of material. Grade meaning particle sizes are different. You see, anything made of matter will have particles. Now, particles, the sizes, the density, the grossness is different in the different bodies. Our visible physical body is the most dense or the most gross. In fact, we are also now started a book study. We are studying Annie Besant's book, Man and His Bodies. There we are discussing each of these bodies. I mean, we are not discussing, we are reading the book and discussing the book. And Annie Besant has given a lot of theosophy literature is there about the bodies. Even in the soul book, Master has talked about the different bodies. Now, so you can say the bodies are the medium through which consciousness expresses itself. Now, because the different bodies have different grossness, so the speed at which the expression can happen, that speed changes. You see, again, remember, consciousness is enabling or animating or enlivening, giving life to the bodies. Without the consciousness, the bodies are just some matter, some particles. They have no abilities. They cannot do anything. But then, when you talk about consciousness, without the bodies, it cannot express itself, it cannot experience the world. So, different words are used. Some people say the consciousness impregnates the bodies. Another term is it interpenetrates the bodies. But regardless, the bodies, whatever the bodies do, it is the acting out of the consciousness. So when Master talks about different levels of consciousness, he is talking about consciousness expressing through the different bodies. In the Advanced Pranic Healing book, there is a excellent chapter on the instructive healing. There is a chapter, more close to the end of the book, instructive healing. There, if you read that, I think this will become rather, Master has explained that very, very well over there. And I suggest that after the session today and before the next session, please read up on the instructive healing, especially the first part where Master talks about the consciousness of the different bodies. Okay. All right. Let's read on. Although the broadcasting tower is in one place, the signal is omnipresent within a certain radius. So, for example, there is a FM station, FM radio. So, one person may be living right next door to the FM station. Another person may be living 20 miles away. but the same signal is present at the same time. So in a sense, you can say the signal, the what is playing is omnipresent within a certain radius. So there is a tower, and all around it, in a certain area, the signal being broadcast, the music being broadcast, whatever the presenter is saying, is omnipresent. The radius of the omnipresence depends on the power of the broadcasting tower. Now, this is an important concept. The soul is God is omnipresent. The soul is omnipresent up to a certain radius, depending on how much spiritual power it has. So, giving us the example of the broadcasting tower, Master is explaining to us the concept of spiritual power and its importance. Now, God is God. So, God is omnipresent, God is omnipotent. Like we say, everything is in God, God is in everything. Correct? So, this is because that's because God is omnipresent. And why is God omnipresent? Because God's spiritual power or spiritual energy is infinite. So, there is no limitation. God is everywhere. But then, when it comes to us, I, the soul, amongst my different bodies and auras, there is the causal body or the soul aura. Now think of a bulb, a 5-watt bulb and a 50-watt bulb. Which one light, how far light will travel will vary depending on the wattage of the bulb. The 5-watt bulb, obviously, light will be present all around, but in a less area as compared to the 50-watt bulb, where the light will travel. Supposing you're in the middle of, let's say, the desert and it's night time and you light the bulb. So the 50-watt bulb light will travel to much more distance, right? This is like obvious. So similarly, we humans, our soul is omnipresent, in a radius around us. That is what we call the soul aura. Soul aura. Now that how far it goes depends on how much spiritual power or spiritual energy we have. And we know how to check that. I mean, different ways of checking that. For example, scan the crown chakra, the functional size of the crown chakra. Scan the spiritual cord. They will indicate to you how much spiritual power we have. Yeah. So just think about it. God is in everything, everything is in God. Now, for us humans, it is easy to understand because, we say we are children of God, we are made in the image of God. So it is easy to understand God is in us, in the form of the soul. But what about inanimate things? For example, what about this phone? What about my handkerchief? What about this phone? Is God in that also? Now, if we say God is omnipresent, then yes, God has to be present here also. Correct? And this is what, for that, you have to read the other books. Like I said, the other book study we are doing, Man and His Bodies. Okay, let's read forward. आगे चलते हैं. Spiritual energy is needed for expansion of consciousness and traveling in the inner worlds. Stillness and awareness are not enough. No spiritual energy, no expansion of consciousness. Spiritual empowerment or Shaktipat is the transference of tremendous spiritual energy to enable the consciousness of the disciple to be able to travel to the different levels of the inner world. When we say different levels of the inner world, and earlier in the Sutra, Master talks about inner worlds. So the term inner worlds and different levels of the inner world, we can say means the same thing. This transference of tremendous spiritual energy is called initiation in modern esoteric books. Shaktipat is an Indian term for spiritual empowerment. Okay, again a very interesting sutra. So what does it mean when master says inner worlds? What are we talking about? You can say apart from the outer visible physical world. Yeah, all the other worlds, because those are invisible and they kind of can be accessed from inside, not through the senses. Vesak, by the way, I hope you had a good Vesak and you participated fully in Vesak. Now, in Vesak, we talk about Shambhala, or, around the time of Vesak, there is a lot of discussion on Shambhala. Now, do you know Shambhala does not exist on the physical plane? So it exists on the etheric plane. Similarly, there are beings which only exist on the astral plane. And we are familiar with the concept of, I hope you are familiar with the concept of astral travel. So all these are, you know, activities and, traveling in the inner worlds. Now, when master says spiritual energy is required, so we are talking about the size of the soul aura, how much energy is there in the soul aura. Now, when master says stillness and awareness are not enough, now, are they really required? If they are not enough, what does it mean that they are not enough? Are they required or not? So, yes, I would say that without stillness and awareness, going into the inner world is not possible. Why? Because when you don't have stillness, then all your consciousness, all your awareness, all your attention is outwards. Where is the question of inner world? You are so engaged or enmeshed or so caught up in the outer world that there is no possibility of going into the inner world. So, stillness and awareness are necessary. Necessary. And I would, if you would like to understand these concepts and so on, I would strongly recommend, please read the relevant chapters on in the soul book. The Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul book. But these are necessary. So they are necessary, but they are not sufficient. So we sometimes things like these we call hygienic factors. कि it is necessary. उसके बगैर होगा नहीं. लेकिन just that is not enough. It's like you there is a door and you have opened the door. But to travel inside, now you still need some force or some energy to move inside. So with this stillness and so on, the door is opened. But to travel, what Master is saying is you need spiritual energy. And one of the things that is possible is Shaktipat. Shaktipat is where your guru or some highly evolved person imparts a quantum of spiritual energy. How does he do that? I've seen master do it through the eyes. He just used to say, look into my eyes, look into my eyes, don't blink, look into my eyes. And hall full of people he would give Shaktipat. Or by touch. He would so in my first experience of Master Choa, he was calling people to the stage by name. He was saying, okay, you've been working very hard, come. And then the person would come on stage and two people would come on the side of that person, and then master would say, okay, turn around, and he would just touch that person's back heart, and that person would stagger, and these two people would hold that person, and then that person would be brought down and made to sit in a chair, and then that person was sort of you can say blissed out, or consciousness is now on another plane, not aware of what is going on around them. So that was an example of Shaktipat. Yes, sounds interesting. Do you also want Shaktipat? Now, Master Choa is no longer in physical body, but so what? I think if we meditate on the Guru with pure devotion, with gratitude, with love, and for a period of time. We do our spiritual practices. We do practice inner purification. We have to create the entitlement for it. And if we will create the entitlement and if we desire that, we will get it. And if you know Kriya Shakti, yeah, make a Kriya Shakti. All right. Okay, let's move on. Inner stillness is not the ultimate objective. It is just a stepping stone to greater inner activities which manifest as partial functioning of intuitive and higher intelligence, illumination, and or expansion of consciousness. You see, now here one has to sort of appreciate the role of the guru. Somewhere Master has said the spiritual path is like the Amazon. Amazon, not the shopping website, but the river or the forests around the river Amazon. What the guru does is the guru shows us the path. He tells us, okay, don't do this because you can have a problem here. Do this because it will accelerate your progress, etc., etc. So this is again very unique and very rare and very valuable information. Master is saying you've achieved inner stillness. That is not the ultimate objective. So then what is the ultimate objective? It's oneness with God. The purpose of where does our spiritual journey end? When we have achieved complete union with God, when we become God realized. And we've discussed this in the last sutra that inner stillness is important. Because, that is when we know that we are not stuck in the external world. We are no longer slaves to the mind. It makes the first level of yoga, that is union with the higher soul, possible. But it is not the final goal. That is what Master is telling us. Now, Master talks about it's a stepping stone to greater inner activities. Now, what are inner activities? What are greater inner activities? Again, I will strongly recommend please read Master's autobiography, The Origin of Modern Pranic Healing and Arhatic Yoga. There, in one section, Master has explained. So he talks about four inner activities: intuitive intelligence, inner transmission, guided transferred clairvoyancy, and telepathic communication. Now, I won't go into the details. Please, you see, my humble request to you is study is when you make the effort yourself. So please, I'm pointing you to, sections. Please read them. Please read them. And, this book study is only twice a week. So you have ample time in between. So please, it is my humble request. Please, because that is where you will, you will start understanding, you will start developing. Right? So I thought we can do a short exercise or a short practice based on what we did in a couple of sutras ago. Where Master was talking about omnipresence. Yes. Shall we do the soul affirmation? May I request, just close your eyes. Let's do the soul affirmation. Please speak with me. I am that I am. I am not the body. I am not the bodies. I am not the physical body. The physical body is just a vehicle. I am not the emotions. I am not the thoughts. I produce the emotions. I produce the thoughts. It's like a carpenter who produces furniture. The carpenter is not the furniture. My thoughts and my emotions are created by me. How can I be what I am creating? I am not the thoughts. I am not the emotions. I use the mind to create the thoughts and emotions. The mind is just an instrument. Like I use the computer, I use the mind. I am not the mind. I am the soul. I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power. I am that I am. I am one with my higher soul. I am one with my divine spark. I am a child of God. I am connected with God. I am one with God. I am one with all. This is the truth. So, hum, so, hum, so. You are the soul. You are the soul. You are one with the higher soul. You are omnipresent in a certain radius all around, in a certain radius. As your consciousness expands, the radius expands, the radius increases. Allow your consciousness to expand. You are a child of God. God is omnipresent. God is in everything. Everything is in God. I am a child of God. I am connected with God. I am one with God. We are all one. Separation is an illusion. Be still, be aware. Your consciousness is expanding. Just allow it to expand. Just relax, be still, be aware. I am a child of God. I am connected with God. I am one with God. We are all one. We are all one. Om. Slowly, gently come back to your body. I suggest keep your eyes closed. Let's release the energy by using the great invocation. Imagine the earth in front of you. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of every person, every being. Let light descend on earth. Please bless the earth with divine light, with divine knowledge, divine wisdom. May the minds of all people be opened. May spiritual truths spread throughout the earth amongst all people. So be it. So be it. So be it. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of every person, every being. Let love spread throughout the earth. May the great avatar, the messenger of love, descend on earth. May his teachings of love, spread throughout the earth. Bless the earth with peace, love, harmony. Visualize all wars, all fights, all conflicts are ending. People are shaking hands, embracing each other, living in harmony. So be it. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the wills of every person, every being, the purpose which the Holy Masters know and serve. Let goodwill and the will to do good descend on earth. Visualize people are living, aligning their lives with the divine plan, with the teachings of the great masters, living in harmony with each other, helping each other, living in harmony with nature, working to improve nature. So be it, so be it, so be it. From the center, which we call the human race, may the plan of love and light work out and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light, love, and power manifest the divine plan on earth. So be, so be, so be.